Johnny, TikTok is full of bloody strange and unusual conspiracy theories. Oh yeah, Johnny, TikTok's full of them. But there's another bloody interesting theory that I stumbled upon when I was doing my research last night. What's that? Tartaria. Tartaria? Johnny, you're going to have to explain yourself. Now, Tartaria, Johnny, is apparently this big Asian empire that ruled the world way back in the day. Yeah, and it went around building all these bloody great big majestic buildings all over the world. Yeah, and those buildings are still there to this very day, even in Australia. What? Yeah, Australia. And that we, the white people who eventually came to the Americas and came to Australia and all that, we just simply discovered these big buildings.
Look, don't be so fucking stupid.
What if many American buildings weren't built, but discovered? What if they were already here, long before America even existed? Believers in the Tartaria conspiracy theory think that these buildings are the key to a lost past. Or maybe lost isn't the right word. They don't think it was lost, they think it was deliberately covered up by a vast global conspiracy involving all of the world's governments and historians.
Jesus Christ!
The basic premise is that there is an alternate history from the one most people know. There was once a vast, very technologically advanced Tartarian Empire that came from North-Central Asia. They created and influenced cities and infrastructure all over the world.
Right, yeah.
So what happened? Why aren't we all living in Tartaria today? Well, unfortunately for the Tartarians, their entire empire was destroyed in a massive mud flood. This massive landslide that somehow appeared wiped them all out somewhere between 100 and 200 years ago. Burying them under the earth. Only the tallest of their buildings were able to survive. The history of Tartaria was erased. After this great reset, the powers that be, whoever they are, decided to lie and claim that the buildings that were still around were built by them. Unwilling to admit that they were left over from Tartaria for whatever reason, people claimed that they themselves had built them. Modern-day Tartaria believers, of course, have seen through this lie, since no 19th century American could really have created these sorts of buildings. No, it must have secretly been a Tartarian architect.
What? Yeah, I mean, they were already there.
19th century American cities are apparently full of buildings that are left over from Tartaria. This means that the empire stretched all the way from Siberia to the western United States. Tartaria enthusiasts say it's just not possible for a bunch of cowboys out in the Wild West to have created these sorts of grand public structures. They
weren't capable of building them? Now, I don't know what the Indians in the US were making of them, or whether they were living in them, or what.
Australia is just kind of a miracle, you know. And I know I've talked about it before, but you have this influx of people, all because of the gold rush. And supposedly, you had 10,000 people turn into 100,000. But even in the 1850s, before all those people, you have buildings like these.
So, Johnny, let me get this straight. They reckon that buildings all around the world, these big old buildings that you find now in the US and Australia and everywhere.
So what are we left with? Well, our history is a complete fabrication. The things that we learned in school, the things that we were taught to be true are just not true. And there was a people that existed that built all of this, and they were entirely covered up, entirely erased from history. And I think that's the scariest thing out of it all.
Tartaria is still a relatively new and relatively small conspiracy. Most people still have no idea what Tartaria even is. It's nowhere near as popular as something like Flat Earth.
Yeah, right. So, Johnny, it's another bloody interesting conspiracy theory that appears to be catching on. Well, that's bloody amazing.